Hi, this is the third recording. My name is Cathy Benz, and I am from the Divine Spirit Healing Center. And we are reading A Course in Miracles. Right now, we are on Chapter 1, Page 4, Part 2. And the heading tonight is Revelation, Time, and Miracles. Paragraph 1. Revelation induces complete but temporary suspension of doubt and fear. Personally, I've worked I've been practicing clairvoyant readings and spiritual healing for 20 years, about 24 years now. And revelation is what I tend to get when I'm reading another person's aura and the energy in their space. And I will see a little bit of a picture or a color, and then I'll get this enormous amount of information that comes after that, like a little packet of information that's zipped up and then boom, it opens. And in that is a ton of information about that person. And what I realized lately is that the information that I get is only the truth, and it's really unfiltered, except for maybe through my own perception or mind, or maybe limited by what I understand. But it's always the truth. It's always unfiltered, and it always gets right down to what's real about that person or their relationships. So perhaps I see somebody and their mother, and they may not understand the relationship, but when I'm looking at it intuitively, I'll see perhaps that the dynamic was the mother was jealous. Perhaps she was jealous that the child was taking away the attention of the father, or maybe she was resentful of having to raise a child. That's revelation. I can tell that person that. I can know that every single time it's always the truth, because it was just given to me by my direct communication with God. And that is what I get to tell this person, and then that person goes, oh, I get it now. And then they can begin to heal, and they can begin to say, okay, it wasn't me, it was my mother, it was her problem, it doesn't make me a bad person. And that healing process can begin, and that person can quit hurting, quit beating themselves up, or quit being angry, and they can start the forgiveness process. So revelation is awesome, and I highly recommend it. It reflects the original form of communication between God and His creations. I love this. As I read this book has helped me to understand what my journey has been as an intuitive and a clairvoyant and a healer, understanding what I was really doing. That's my direct communication with God, involving the extremely personal sense of creation, sometimes sought in physical relationships. So I believe what this is saying is that you can have this extremely close relationship with God, and people seek those in physical relationships. And unfortunately, another human being can, like I said before, they can love you one day, they might not love you tomorrow, and that's a very scary love. Physical closeness cannot achieve it. So when you are hugging or kissing another person or touching another person, sometimes if you've ever had a really close moment, you feel like, I just want to crawl, like just melt in with this person and just become one person. Your bodies cannot do that. Spiritually, though, you can have that connection energetically. Miracles, however, are genuinely interpersonal and result in true closeness to others. Revelation unites you directly with God. Miracles unite you directly with your brother. I like this. This is a great differentiation between a revelation and a miracle. So a revelation is a communication with God, and a miracle is when you and another person heal because you say hello to that person's love within them and who they are as spirit, and then they begin to just let go of um, all their false identities, and they move closer to truth, all their hurt, and both of you move closer to truth through love. Neither revelation nor miracle emanates from consciousness, but both are experienced there. So miracles and revelation do not come from your awareness or your consciousness, but that's where you will, when you are in your body, you are present, you will experience miracles and revelations through your consciousness. Continuing, consciousness is the state that induces action, though it does not inspire it. You are free to believe what you choose, and what you do attests to what you believe. So look at what people, you have that old saying, watch people's actions rather than their words. Sometimes you have to watch your own actions. You have to step back a little bit and look at yourself, because you may say, I believe this and I believe that, and you kind of look at yourself and see what you're actually doing. You know, sometimes I find myself just really screaming at my kids or yelling at them, and I'm like, okay, I guess I need to read A Course in Miracles some more. Inducing violence upon those around me. Okay, well, what I do shows what I really believe. So then I have to go back and look at, what was the belief? What was the program I was operating under that said that I had to scream at that kid, and instead of just using a forceful voice, using a mean voice or throwing energy at them? What was going on in my place, in my space? I must believe that violence is really the way to get what I want or get my visions created. So this is a great paragraph. A lot of meat in that paragraph. We're going to go to paragraph 2. Revelation is intensely personal and cannot be meaningfully translated. That is why any attempt to describe it in words is impossible. I have to attest that this is very true. When you're reading another person and you get that download of information, you get that insight, you can never ever truly describe it the way you're seeing it. You do your best to communicate as closely as possible what you're looking at without adding, because adding is always just your brain, and that can be quite challenging sometimes. Revelation induces only experience. Revelation induces only experience. Miracles, on the other hand, induce action, are more useful now because of interpersonal nature. In this phase of learning, working miracles is important because freedom from fear cannot be thrust upon you. Revelation is literally unspeakable because it is an experience of unspeakable love. Wow, that is awesome. I think I'm relating revelation to my experiences that I've had as a clairvoyant, but I've had another experience where God or Christ came to me, and it was a moment. I could not speak. It was so intense, and this is before I started studying A Course in Miracles. And when this came upon me, this love that was, I could never describe it, but it was truly awe-inspiring. And it just said to me, everything is love. Everything is love. So we're moving on to paragraph 3. Awe should be reserved for revelation, to which it is perfectly and correctly applicable. It is not appropriate for miracles because a state of awe is worshipful, implying that one of a lesser order stands before his Creator. You are a perfect creation and should experience awe only in the presence of the Creator of perfection. The miracle is therefore a sign of love among equals. Equals should not be in awe of one another, because awe implies inequality. I think this is a good message. We tend to put people in the world into as awe-inspiring people, such as movie stars or politicians or just businessmen or religious leaders. We put them in a state of inequality to us. And one of the things we really need to take away from this book is that every man in the body is the same. We're all equal, no matter what our status is, or our wealth levels, or even our spiritual levels. Awe is for the perfected Creator, but each one, and love is for all of our fellow man. Continuing, it is therefore an inappropriate reaction to me. So he's saying that we don't have to be in awe of the Holy Spirit. An elder brother is entitled to respect for his greater experience and obedience for his greater wisdom. He is also entitled to love because he is a brother, and to devotion if he is devoted. It is only my devotion that entitles me to yours. There is nothing about me that you cannot attain. I have done nothing that does not come from God. The difference between us now is that I have nothing else. This leaves me in a state which is only potential in you. But this is great. I had an awe-inspiring moment in my meditation studio in a class, and we were looking at God. And the first thing we did is we looked at God as a male. Then took some time, we looked at God as a female. We got some different information, different pictures and perspectives. And so we're in meditation, and we looked at God as neither male nor female. And that's when God just came upon us and came in there, and each one of us were just truly left speechless. So that wasn't the Holy Spirit, because I have the Holy Spirit visit my studio in my classes, pretty much every class, and I did not have the awe experience, which has only happened to me once. So I'm really hoping that I can have more of those experiences and maybe call upon them, at any time. So it was God that was there, and not the Holy Spirit. Paragraph 4, continuing. No man cometh unto the Father, but by me. Does not mean that I am in any way separate or different from you except in time. And time does not really exist. The statement is more meaningful in terms of a vertical rather than a horizontal axis. You stand below me, and I stand below God. In the process of rising up, I am higher because without me, the distance between God and man would be too great for you to encompass. I bridge the distance as an elder brother to you on the one hand, and as a son of God on the other. My devotion to my brothers has placed me in charge of the sonship, which I render complete because I share it. This may appear to contradict the statement, I and my Father are one, but there are two parts to the statement but there are two parts to the statement in recognition that the Father is greater. Paragraph 5. Revelations are indirectly inspired by me because I am close to the Holy Spirit and alert to the revelation readiness of my brothers. So if you're ready, you will get it. All right, continuing. I can thus bring down to them more than they can draw down to themselves. The Holy Spirit mediates higher to lower communication, keeping the direct channel from God to you open for revelation. Revelation is not reciprocal. It proceeds from God to you, but not from you to God. Paragraph 6. The miracle minimizes the need for time. In horizontal plane, the recognition of the equality of the members of the sonship appears to involve almost endless time. However, the miracle entails a sudden shift from horizontal to vertical perception. This introduces an interval from which the giver and the receiver both emerge farther along in time than they would otherwise have been. The miracle thus has the unique property of abolishing time to the extent that it renders the equality of time it spans unnecessary. So let's read that one again. The miracle thus has the unique property of abolishing time to the extent that it renders the interval of time it spans unnecessary. There is no relationship between the time a miracle takes and the time it covers. The miracle substitutes for learning that might have taken thousands of years. It does so by the underlying recognition of perfect equality of giver and receiver on which the miracle rests. The miracle shortens time by collapsing it, thus eliminating certain intervals within it. It does this, however, within the larger temporal sequence. The larger temporal sequence. This is quite interesting. The miracle shortens time by collapsing it, thus eliminating certain intervals within it. It does this, however, within the larger temporal sequence. I may be completely nuts or off on this, but if I'm thinking about this horizontal timeline, and at first it looks like it goes on forever, because if you're not healing, you cannot leave time until you're completely healed. Then when you become completely healed and you're no longer hating, you're only running love, then it shortens the time span to when time stops existing. And perhaps within that, what we don't see happening is actual parts of the timeline breaking off. So it may be, hey, you need another 1,000 years to work on this one picture. But the miracle can come in and get you over that hump, kind of like a really fast car, and then that 1,000 years goes blink right off the timeline, and the timeline becomes shortened. And we never know that, but perhaps what might be going on here too is that the timeline is already set. Perhaps there's already a set timeline. I don't know this. I'm just putting it out there. Perhaps there's already a set timeline based on what's going to happen today or based on what the present situation is, that a normal amount of time to work that picture could be 1,000 years. But then you create a miracle, you jump over that, and suddenly all of the temporal, everything is changed on that timeline based on the miracle. So it's a pretty cool concept. It reminds me of things that you might find in Star Trek, temporal sequences changing, shifting, getting deleted through miracles. I think this is a really important chapter, and I think it really helps us understand what miracles are and understanding how they affect not only us, but they're actually affecting each time we take a step. The entire timeline is changed. The entire sonship is changed, and time is actually shortened. I think that sounds a little scary at first. You can go into a little fear about that because we're so used to being in time that we figure, we don't want what comes after that. And really, we're only on page 6, but this book really tries to communicate to you that is really what you do want, that this is the difficult place to be, that once we can once we can heal ourselves, we can get off this time out of time, that the place that we go to, we just sort of rejoin with God, and it's really where you want to be, apparently. So that's it for today, and namaste, love and light, and we'll do a little prayer, and may we be without fear as we walk through our day. May we extend love and receive love. May we begin to look for all those places where love is hiding, and we may just need to look for it. So be good out there, and next time we'll do part 3, Atonement and Miracles. Namaste.